Hello, hello, and welcome back. I'm Claire. Excuse me. This is Purple Poppy, and we're working on the Just Because quilt today. Now, if you saw last week's video, you will remember that I started on October. And while I was doing it, I was looking at this panel and I was thinking, do you know what? I'm going to do some stylised stitching on these trees and maybe even on the dog. And then I got all involved, as you do. And I used this crochet cotton in a 20 to go round the edges of my hexes. So, you know, I'm fiddle faddling around basically. So today we are leaving block 2, we're coming back to block 1, and I've got the Sheepies 394 and 514 in the greens to work on the trees, and then I've got this 179 that I use all the time that we'll use to put on the dog. So the risk of giving you a headache, I'm going to turn it upside down because then I'm nearer the edge and it's easier for me, whoops, Jenga, it's easier for me to stitch. And I'm sure you can see, let me just double check. Yep, you're perfectly in frame now. So as you can see, I just did these little sort of open lazy daisies on those trees in the dark green, and I just went along and did a bit of the grass. So I think now I'm going to leave those other trees. I'm going to leave that piece of grass. I'm going to work down the side here and along there in the lighter green, and then I'll do some of the trees in that darker green. So, how are you? How are you getting on with your quilt or other stitchery? I say stitchery because I tend to find that my paper people don't watch the stitchery, and the stitchery people don't tend to watch the paper videos. So it's almost like you're in two completely separate groups. So just need to thin this down a little bit so I can get it through the eye of my needle. You must be so fed up with watching me constantly trying to thread needles. And I do apologise, it's quite noisy here today. It's washing day, so I've got the washer going, so obviously there is that noise if you can hear it in the background. But also, for some reason, there seems to be some children that are not at school, and they seem to be playing in the street. So let's move all those over there, and let's start here. Oh, it's not there, Claire. Let's start there, and we can come through and we can work on this grass. So I'm just doing basic straight stitches. Some will probably be running stitches, some will be back stitch, but just straight stitches. Just really adding some texture and colour to this giant panel. See, and we've gone along and now it's going to be up and down, but still the straight stitches. So, as you'll see on Sunday, the second part of that troublesome Roxy's Journal of Stitchery double page is complete. So that's waiting for a new prompt. And I'm just messing around with this. Really am messing around with it because I thought I'd finished with this first panel apart from the quilting, and then the more I looked at it I changed my mind. So, but then I think in a lot of ways that's fabulous. It's how the creative process works. You know, you do something and you think, yep, happy with that, that's done. Then you look at it another day and you think, maybe not, maybe a little bit more of something. So yeah, and I don't think there's any problem with that, really, do you? So I like this. It's amazing because in the bowl it looks really quite bright, and yet now that it's stitched down I don't think it looks anywhere near as bright as it did. Whoops, I've got that stuck around that pin. That's no good, is it? It's the only trouble with having the two panels going at once. I have got quite a lot of pins still in this. Okay, that's that little bit done, and now we'll work on this one. So just nice, calm, quiet time. I'm filming ahead as always, and I'm just back from the supermarket with the weekly shop. That was a bit chaos. I always use the self-service tills. It's just my choice, really. And for some reason today it wasn't working, and when I got to the end, the little bit where it says, you know, insert cash or notes, if you've ever used them you'll know what I mean, and it wouldn't suck in the notes. So then lovely assistant came over and we had to go off to another till, a standard till, and she had to ring it all up all over again. So that was a bit of a nightmare, but it's done. I'm home, it's all put away, and now we're doing some nice calm stitching while the washing is dealing with itself. So it's all good, isn't it? It's all good. The rain's finally stopped. I got up this morning, it was pouring down, and it carried on doing that for quite some time. And then it became brilliant sunshine, and now it's come over all overcast again. So goodness knows what's going on with it. Just trying to decide if I want to go all the way. Yeah, let's go all the way. So yeah, the weather doesn't know what it's doing. 1 minute it feels like midwinter, the next minute I've got the fan back on. Craziness, but hey ho. If that's all, if that's all we've got to worry about, it don't really matter, does it? Just move that pin out of the way. Don't know what it was holding down. Something will be loose in a minute. I've been watching a lot of, actually I shouldn't necessarily tell you that because that's paper, and we've already said paper people don't really watch the stitcheries, but I've been watching a lot of Mrs. Paint-A-Lot lately. She's doing a thing called September series, so I've been watching that. But for my stitchery people, you haven't yet found it, I'm doing a mini series over on my Ko-fi of doing paper things in fabric. So all the things we normally put into a journal, a junk journal, such as belly bands, pockets, tags, I've been experimenting with making them in fabric with stitchery. So that's been a lot of fun. So if you haven't yet found that, it's all free. You might want to pop over there and have a look at that. I'll try and remember to leave a link at the end of the video if that interests you. Okay, so that's that bit of grass, and now I won't do that piece of grass, but I will get some dark back on to do these trees, and then we'll do some brown on the woofer. It's obviously a bit of a stylised dog. I'm guessing it's something like a Westie. So I don't know if brown's really the right colour. I think it'd have to be a terrier, wouldn't it, to be brown? Westies tend to be white or black. So we've decided it's going to be a terrier because I want to do it in brown. So there you go. That's what it is. Okay, now, well, how are we going to do these trees? Because I did these like open V's here, but this feels more, I don't quite know. What does this feel like? I wonder actually, just sort of do a bit of a back stitch. I'll follow round the like outline of it, as it were. So we'll see how that goes. I am finding that I'm starting to suffer with this muscle line here, so I find that I can't do as much stitching as I was doing, which is a little bit annoying. I don't quite know if there's a solution to that, or if it's just not doing as much. But it's quite frustrating. So I was just checking. I've got a cup of coffee at the side there. I don't really want to be dragging my thread through my coffee cup. So it's a nice bit of breeze out there, so I'm hoping that when I've finished here, the washing will be finished and I can get it out on the line and it can get some lovely fresh air blown into it. There's nothing like washing off the line, is there? I know our friends across the pond find that quite a bizarre thought that we put washing on the line. I know whenever I watch American videos, not necessarily American videos, but videos of people that are American and have moved to the UK, and they find it very bizarre that we put washing on the line to dry rather than using a dryer automatically. I mean, I use a dryer in the midst of winter. And also, apparently, they find it very odd that we have our washing machines in the kitchens, because they tend to have laundry rooms. I think it's only larger houses in the UK that have laundry rooms. More standard sized ones tend not to. Well, that's been my experience anyway. What is that going on there? I've got a piece of Oh, we've got a piece of thread coming through from the back. There we go, let's get rid of that. So yeah, anyway, I don't have a laundry room. I don't think I ever have, actually. Just trying to think. Oh. No. One of my trusty knots. You knew it was going to happen. It always does. Then I suppose, why would I waste space on a laundry room when it could be a craft studio? Oh dear. I'm surprised we've got a bedroom. Could take the bedroom over as a craft space. I know lots of people do when children leave home or whatever. Poor hubby thought he was getting a gym or an office, and while he's at work, the lady of the house has moved all her craft stuff in. Oh dear. It's all fun and games, isn't it? Yeah, that's working quite nicely for me. Oh yeah. Well, apart from all these knots, but you know, nothing new there, is there? I'm liking that. And obviously I'm following this one all the way round, I think. I don't think I'll do them all, because then it wouldn't be that sort of stylised texture. It would be more sort of satin stitch, wouldn't it? But I do quite like this. And you'll see on Sunday, if you watch my Roxy's Journal Stitchery video, that I did this type of stylised stitching through those troublesome napkin pieces. If you've watched part one, you'll know what I'm talking about. So yeah, I think I'll leave those two in the middle and then do the one at the end. I think that's what I'm feeling at the moment. Who knows, by the time you come back next week I might have refilled them all. And I'm dreadful that I'm working backwards and forwards. Don't look at the back of my work. Fortunately, it's a quilt, so you won't see the back because there'll be a new pretty back on it. So it's a bit of an excuse to cheat and not worry about what the back looks like. I know when I was at school, we was always told, you know, the back should be as good as the front. Well, I'm sure you've realised by now that was never going to wash with me. Whoops. Has anybody come across the channel Threading My Way Through Kent? The lovely lady who is travelling all over Kent in the UK in search of lovely threads to stitch with. Threads as in not only you know, stitchery thread, but also fabrics. I've only seen a couple. She was recently in Canterbury and then she darted across country to Smarden, and she shows you a little bit of the location she's in and what she's purchased while she was there. And the other one I saw, she was in Tenterden, and again she goes on as many of the country roads as she can rather than, you know, motorways or dual carriageways or whatever. So you do get to see a little bit of the village, and where the shops will let her, she films in the shop. So yeah, it's quite a nice little watch in the background while you're stitching, if you're looking for something new to watch. So that's good. I'm enjoying her. There you go. So that's that one. That was much smaller. I think I'll do this black line as well. So yeah, I've been enjoying watching her. Do you know what? I now want to do this one. You see, this is what happens. It's the creativity. You just sort of start one way, or as Corinne would say, rabbit hole. You start one way and you end up somewhere totally different. But that's the freedom of it, isn't it? Okay. Now, does it look odd if I don't do that middle bit? No, I don't think it does. So, I'll turn this over. I'll get a little knot through there. And we'll have a look at the woofer. That's all the way over there, isn't it? So we have to turn it round that way now. I'm sure you're still on screen. Let's make sure. Yep. So let's get some brown, and I think I'm probably going to do all these little dashes rather than the very dense area. Might do a little bit on this tail. We'll see how we go. Let's have a little look and see what happens. But first, coffee. Okay, oops. Go away, Mr. Green Thread. We don't need you at the moment. Right. Oh, the painstaking needle threading. I've actually split that. Can I drag it through? No. I have got a number of needle threaders, but I find that 9 times out of 10 I end up pulling the little wire have the little handle thing. I don't know if I'm over rough with them or they're not particularly, the ones I've got are not particularly. Oh, I've split it again. Oh, we're having a right time with that, aren't we? Have I got a needle in here that's got a bigger eye in it? No, that one's exactly the same, but perhaps it will just be a bit friendlier. Perhaps it'll just be friendlier than that one. Shall we try again? I don't want to keep cutting the end off. I'm going to end up with a piece really short. Mind you, that's probably the length I should be using, isn't it? I'm always being told that the reason I struggle with my thread is because it's too long. Oh, for goodness sake. Turn it round, Claire, because apparently there's a right and wrong side. I heard somebody say. And maybe that's true, because that's gone first time. Okay, right, enough faffing. Let's get on and do some bits on this dog. So, bring him all the way up here so that you can see nicely. And where am I going? I'm going to start there. I'm going to have a couple of bits on his ear. So on there. And on there. And on there. Just a couple of little lines on his ears. And on this one here. So, dump, dump. And then I'm going to go down here onto like his chest. And we've got a couple of bits on his ear. And then just down. Obviously not as obvious as the green, but it's giving texture, which is what we wanted, or what I wanted. And then we've got some short ones, so that one is going to go in there, and then that's going to come out and go up there. Got my thread caught round a pin again. Okay, and then I think we'll have this bit here comes up there, and then that one comes across there, over to there, and back down to there. And now we're on really a series of little like seed stitches over here. So there's one, there's another one, another one, And she's got about 4 more along here. There's one. I don't know if that was thunder or somebody dropping something. It's gone dark enough for thunder. I suppose that means the washing's not going on the line. And then there's a little tufty area here that I want to do. So, oh, and there's hubby's phone. See, I told you it was noisy here today, didn't I? Right. There we go. So, I think we'll turn it round the right way so we can look at it the way we should be looking at it. We'll see where we are. Right. So, there we go. We've got a nice bit of greenery in there, and we've got, so keep moving it around, we've got the brown bits in the dog. As I say, they're nowhere near as obvious as the green, but they are on there. So there you go. I can't guarantee that when you see it next week it won't have some more stitching in it, but for now I'm happy with that and I'm gonna call it quits. So as always, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you found some inspiration to work along with your piece. Stay safe, I'll see you very soon. Ta-ta for now.